Now, we're going to have all those hands come up, hey, this time. All right. This lady's smiling at this here. Have I ever seen you before? Yes. Right. I'd like to have somebody who I've never seen before, okay? Can you be happy up here? And I'm going to look at all the parts of your body. Are you happy about that?
Yes, I am.
All right. I'm just going to clear this away here. And if you can sit up here, dear, I want people to look and see you, because then they can see you afterwards.
Okay.
By the way, my students in Australia said to me I had to put it all down in writing. So this is what I did, and give it a name. Now, in my political life, I never named anything after me, so here we have a booklet there giving you an idea what you can do as a follow-through. And my booth number is 305, and my wife's booth is right next door. Now, your name is, dear, please?
Mary Ellen.
What's it?
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen. And you come from Chicago here?
Yes.
All right. Good. When's your date of birth, please, dear?
September 26th.
That's all you need, dear.
Okay.
September 26th. So you're a Libra.
Yes.
That's right. Peace at any price. That's right. Now, if you'd like to drop your coat off, and that you can lie down and drop your shoes off, please, dear. Can we just drop this off? Thank you.
You lay down.
Yes, please. And you put your head up here, please. A little bit more. That's right. I always like people to be comfortable when they come to see me. When they see me in Washington, D.C., I tell them they need to be comfortable at all times. And Geoffrey's going to take his jacket off. Normally when you see me, I'm wearing a pair of shorts. Even when I drive the tractor. I do try to drive. I drive the tractor all day. Yeah. Good. Now you saw what Mary Ann, wasn't it?
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Ellen. When she sits up afterwards, you might see a different glow about her. So I tuned into her, and what I'm going to do first is remove some of the negative aura that is about her. And when I get up to here, I'm going to invite a couple of people to come up and feel the difference between what I've done and what I haven't done. There will be a difference in temperature. So, excuse me. Right. So I tune into the body and tune into Mary Ellen. Okay. Now I can check to see if... Now, you've picked up a lot of negativity over the period of time you have. When I can feel it way out here somewhere, you're virtually walking in a cocoon of negativity, you see? Anyway, I'm going to peel this off here because it only starts just above your feet. And having done this for a long time, I can work a little bit faster than those who are just learning. But it's marvelous to see the change in people if I only clear the negative aura. And those who are clairvoyant will see a change taking place here as I do all this. Right? And I'm just going to skip over this. And normally I'd go around the other side, but I don't want my back to the audience. Right, now here, I'll just clear that off here. My hand cannot come past there, and the temperature here is different to the temperature here. There's a couple of people like to come and have a feel. Yeah, these two will do, fine. Are you light-handed? Right-handed? Yeah, come around here, please. Now, you see, I've cleared up to here, and if you hold your hand just above here, and you'll feel a temperature here, and there'll be a different temperature there. done this many, many times. But I run out of time, unfortunately. Okay, well, don't run away, please. So we're to look and feel your temperature here, and you lift it over to feel the temperature on here. The idea of this is to show that I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Righto. Now, what I want to do here now, I'm going to clear some more up to just below the bust. You see, it feels like a cold draft in here. Okay? Now, the difference is here is a blockage. And that's what I try to say to people. That blockage is like a substance in there. And so, well, you can come back again and you can feel with your fingers stiff here if there's a blockage there. I'll clear all that later on, and she'll feel as though she's walking on a little cloud in a sense, okay? So would you like to rotate yourself around again, please? Okay. And this here, I can feel this way out here somewhere, but that's about where the blockage is, and you'll probably find your hand going up in the air because of that blockage. Feel that there? All right. Got a bit of tension on your hand? All right, let's have the others have a try, please. Just put a bit of tension on your hand, just stiffen them up. So there's a blockage right there, dear. They feel a different day. Some of you will have felt and some may not have. But I thank you for trying. Okay? Would you like to take your seat? Right. Now then, I'll just take the rest of this away. And while they're taking their seat, now Mary Ellen here, because the way she's lying, I know when I finally get to a point about her head, I know that she's also got a TMJ problem. That to mean the jaw is sitting right. See how she's come down? She's automatically twisted one way or another. Right, very good. Now, what did I do ask here, and this might surprise you, June with Mary Ellen. Has she got any extra entities with her? Any extra entities with her? No. And I better explain that. I have found over the years that some people have got an extra entity or two or three have attached themselves to the person. And you can say, how's that possible? Well, just imagine you have a loved one who's died, who's passed over, and you didn't want them to die. So you haven't released their soul. Very important, you must release the soul. If you're like the Maoris in New Zealand, they have 3 days of wailing, they have a big feast, and then it's gone. They have a big feast, it's called a tangi. All right? And I told my children, when I peg out, you've got to have a happy funeral, and then you've got to buzz out there and you've got to plant 5 trees. So I'm leaving the planet in a better condition than what I was when I came in. All right. Now, another thing besides this, about that extra entity being attached here, we don't realize that we need to be needed sometimes. So therefore, that's another reason why we don't release the spirit. Another one is people play with a Ouija board, and there's free spirits running around there. Or if you're in West Africa and the Caribbean, they point bones they use voodoo there on you. Or in Australia, if the Aboriginals pointing a bone at you, you'll get sick. You see, it's all the same energy. So when I find that there's an extra entity there and the person is receptive, I'll start from the feet and I'll take the spirit out through the crown chakra into the light and never returns. For your knowledge, only about 5% of people seem to have them. And some of the old timers might remember an expression that was used on young children. Oh, he's a crabby young fellow because he's got a dog on his back. Well, he didn't have a dog on his back at all. What he had is an extra spirit attached to him, see? All right, so I'm going to go across Mary Ellen this time, and I'm looking at all the parts of her body. So here. Now, Mary Ellen, I find, do you get to feel this might be a bit sore for you in here? Feel that there? And also this foot might be a bit tender under here. So therefore, this hip might be a bit sore for you. That's a sciatic nerve. So if I had the time, I'd show you about this and how the Geoffrey spot there would help you over the sciatic problem, you see. And you're all too young to have sciatic problems. All right. So I come up here through knees and I look at the knees and everything else. And then I'd get to the torso. So I deal with the reproductive area, the digestive area, the cardiac area, and then the cranial. Now remember, we're here in a kind of a pseudo-medical situation. So nothing is seen as being sleazy, please. See, so I'm going to look at all the parts of her body. And you're quite happy about that, dear? So Mary Ellen. And this is what I do with each and every person, and the same with the male, but I'm looking at his male organs. June with Mary Ellen. Left side of the vagina, right side. Any problems there? No. All right. Now then, vaginal, the urethra, the bladder. No problem there. The vaginal tract, that's the part that goes up inside. Vaginal tract, any problems there? The cervix, uterus. Now I know something's not right in the uterus, dear. Okay, now the left ovary, left fallopian tube, right ovary, right fallopian tube. Well, that's okay. Don't be surprised at these questions. Everybody gets them, irrespective. Tune with Mary Ellen. Any STD, any HIV, fungal infection, parasites, emotional traumas. You've got a few traumas, dear. Now remember, the people who hurt you and never come back and say, I'm sorry. So as we live every day as one day at a time, and it's as though we've been reincarnated in between times when we go to sleep, you must release them because they never come back and say, I'm sorry. And so when you ask the question to yourselves, now why does he say anything about STD and HIV? Of course, it's all part of living, and that's a part of the disease that we can have. The first time I found an HIV, I did a big audience there in Los Angeles. And I didn't know what to do because I got a positive. But I asked the universe, what was I going to do here? And they said to give him a psychic transfusion, which is what I did. What a different man he was when he came off the table. I couldn't tell the audience, I couldn't tell the man, and I couldn't tell anybody. 3 months later, he found me at a motel, and he came in and sat down, and he said, you know, Jeff, he says, just before that demonstration, I was they told me that I actually had HIV. I gave him a big hug, because I hadn't told him, but it confirmed for me that when I ask a question of the body, so it reveals yes or no. I did another session with him then, and then I did another session later on. He'll be free now. So just because you have HIV is not the end of the world. Please think about that. And so it is with many other complaints that we have with our body. So long as there's life in here and you've got ideas of a goal in front of you, nothing to do with health, you're going to get there. So we go on from here. Seeing as I'm going to deal with this uterus, I'm going to clear this just like as though I'm in an operating theatre. I'm making a decision here, just like I'm shown in meditation. So I make an incision, and I always do 2 incisions there. All right. Now my mind is inside the uterus, see? Right inside the uterus. And I just know that something's not perfect in there, see? And you can pull it all out. See, and she might feel as though something's been removed from her. When you've been doing this, and I've done about 50,000 people over my time, of all sorts of complaints, okay? You know, that feels a lot better. Good. So I'll seal that over, and I always make 2 incisions and make 2 healings. Now you'll find that there'll be a hot spot underneath there, dear. See? That's your body doing its own healing. See what it's all about? It's a person's body who's doing the healing with the energy from above. We want hundreds of people using this energy. True. All right. Now cover that over. Now look at the ileocecal valve, the appendix, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, so there. Anyway, but look at this here, the liver or the gallbladder, that's okay. The stomach, you don't chew your food enough, dear. See? So then I can ask the questions here in the stomach. How about apple cider vinegar? Swedish bitters. Now Swedish bitters would help you here in your digestion. And sauerkraut. Both of those would be good for you see? Your friends are writing this down. See? So I put some energy into here, and it'll make you feel better. Now the other thing is those people in the room here who may be having the same troubles that Mary Ellen, you may find you're getting better at the same time. See? You might say that's strange, but that's what happens. See? Good. It's the same it is in some of the audiences I've had when I've had my booth, and people have said, you know what, I don't feel sick anymore. Anyway, the pancreas, high sugar. You love your sweet things, dear. She loves the sweet things. And you know why? Because the sweetness is out of her life, so she indulges in the sweet things. I never tell you to stop, just so long as you know the effects of it is. So let's all die happy, you see, even if you have a bar of chocolate. But the licorice root I find is very useful for helping to stabilize this part, so you don't have such the same cravings. But you need perhaps to look in the mirror, Mary Ellen, and say, hello, Mary Ellen, I love you. And when the mirror says, yes, Mary Ellen, I love you too, and I'll send you a bunch of flowers, then you know you love yourself. And teach people to love themselves. Okay, now then. Spleen, that's very good. Well, now it's a normal procedure, but I'll do the rest of her body, for me to take the hand now, once I've looked at those organs in the body, and say, and choose Mary Ellen, is she anemic? And she is. You are, dear. You can't make love in the afternoon. See, you've got no energy. See? You can't do anything else in the afternoon. You've got no energy. So something is shocking here for the population as a whole. So let's have a look at some of the rest of it. So she's anemic. Now, could you do some Dong Quai, black cohosh, blue cohosh, wild jam, false unicorn, Damiana? She doesn't need. Those are all female herbs, which the normal female should be having 1 or 2 of those. But when I say, ask, does she need some saw palmetto? It says yes. Now, why does she need yes for saw palmetto? It's a male herb. Many years ago, I read a report about a man being given Dong Quai, and I argued with the lady, remonstrated with her, And she said, my husband would not be alive today if I hadn't given him Don Quai. So that's what made me think about why should a woman have saw palmetto. Of course, she got too much estrogen in her body because of the consumption of soy. So give some thought about this there. If you find that your libido's disappeared, then that may be the reason for it. All right, so I can go on from there. Zinc, magnesium, calcium, you see, don't need it, but manganese. And I go through a whole string of others. The same with vitamin A and D, there's cod liver oil. I believe that's one of the fundamental things to build up our immunity so we don't get the flu and so on, that we don't have to have flu shots. I don't have a flu shot. I'm no different to any of you others, truly, except when I was a young fellow, my mother said, open your mouth with cod liver oil. If you don't open your mouth, I'll hold your nose. There's no bigger pardon. That's what happened, you see. So please, mothers, take control of your children, at least until they have real minds of their own. Please. We teach this in the Western A. Price Foundation too. All right, now then. So she wants some cod liver oil. And incidentally, it should be about 5,000 of A to 500 of D. Now then, how about vitamin B? Vitamin B, you could do some vitamin B1, B6, B12. B12 because you're anemic, you see, dear? And so it goes on. I'll skip over some of that because we'll run out of time on all of this. All right, now then, any angina, circulation, the heart. So I look at the heart, the aorta, left ventricle, right ventricle, any problems there? If there were, I will do some work on that. 35 years ago, a lady in New Zealand had a real heart problem when I went to see her at her house. And I opened the heart up and I worked on her. She rang me the next day and said, Jeff, what on earth did you do to me yesterday? She said, I feel I've just returned from hospital after surgery. The following day she was on top of the world. So this sort of work is just almost the same as like a surgery is. And 'tis the same. She was quite okay. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's the big C and all sorts of other things, you can work on them and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I have some people from India. They think that what Geoffrey does is just what they used to do hundreds of years ago until it was all knocked out of them. See? Until the Moguls came down from the north. All right, now then, so it comes from the heart, the thyroid. Now listen, dear, I can feel the thyroid, see? Now, best way I know of treating this is using some iodine. I have some iodine in my bag, and I'd normally put it on the wrist here, about a square inch or more, and if it disappears, it hasn't rubbed off, it's absorbed into the body because of the soy consumption. Understand? Soy. And that's why we published a book called The Whole Soy Story. All right. So if you put that iodine on there, which I'd normally do when I see people at my clinic, then you put another lot the following day if it disappears within 24 hours. After that, you put it on somewhere else on your body. And I repeat this story several times. A friend of mine in Oklahoma rang me. He says, my wife is about to have her thyroid removed. So I suggested put it on her wrist, and that's exactly what she did. She did it again the second day. After that, she put it on the rest of the body, about a square inch or so on. She did it for 60 days, went back to the hospital at Weatherford, and they couldn't believe they didn't have to do the operation. Okay? Marvelous, marvelous. All right. Now, the esophagus, Hyatt's hernia, very good. Now, the next comes there's a sequence to follow when you're doing all this healing work. So I'm going to be doing your breasts there. These are better than any mammogram. Truly, my wife's never had a mammogram. When I first met her, she had a little problem in breast, by the way. She had a problem in breast, but she'd never had an operation. Geoffrey kind of fixed it up, you see. And it's not me, please, don't see that. There's nothing there, that wasn't Geoffrey. I call upon the universe, and I'm the channel for directing this energy through, which you all can do yourselves, you see? All right, now, in tune with Mary Ellen. Left breast. Any problem with the left breast? Left breast? Hello, dear? Left breast? Listen, dear, you're doing too much for everybody else and not enough for yourself. Is that what you've been doing? Let's check the right breast, love. Right breast, 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 right breast. I crisscross this, right breast, right breast, right breast, right breast. Now then, dear, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to sincerely answer me. Have you heard a voice saying to you sometime, now come on, Mary Ellen, slow down. If you don't slow down, we're going to get sick.
I don't think so.
And so, well, every woman where I found a problem in the breast over these last 3 years has heard that sort of voice because they're doing too much for everybody else and not enough for themselves. Please, ladies, please give some thought about that. There's no point, there's no good being a martyr, because if you get sick, you cannot help all those people you've been assisting. You must do enough for yourself. Eh? Okay, all right, now then, let's do this again. Left breast. See, left breast. I just know, dear, I can find something here. Now, I'm just going to pause there. How am I going for time? Not too much time, but I want to tell you, for 100 years, at least, the women folk, if they had a problem in the breast, if it was mastitis or it's a cyst or anything else, they reached for the Lugol's solution, L-U-G-O-L-S, Lugol's solution. Then they reach for their douche. And today, so many women don't even know what a douche is, the young ones. No grandmas around to tell them. They put 4 drops of Lugol's, which are potassium iodine and iodine, in the douche. And they douched themselves, excuse the men if you don't understand this, they douched themselves 3 or 4 times a day for a couple of days and fixed up all the problems in the breast. Nobody knows about that today. And when I was in New Zealand a few times ago, I was in a pharmacy there, or a chemist we call it, and they had a string of bottles along the top, and I said, wonderful, you've got some of the old-time remedies. And I said, what about a Lugol solution? When he said to me, oh, we're not allowed to use them now. Well, he said, the Lugols, he said, we used that for women for years and years and years. And to confirm some of this, when I was doing a demonstration at another city, I found a problem in the breast where they'd had an operation and which had gone wrong, see? And this was a smell was taking place because that's what can occur. What I could smell around the breast, I could smell down in the groin, and that confirmed to me where there's a relationship between the 2 parts. So have a think about that and how the breast and then the groin are really linked together, and the use of iodine or Lugols has been extremely beneficial. All right, now let's deal with this, dear. So I'm going to just pinpoint something here. Now if I touch you here, dear, you might find that, feel that there. You feel that there? Yeah, dear. All right. Just excuse me here. This is why I must concentrate on this. All right? So clear this away just like an operation, see? Right. Now I want to make an incision here. And I open that up through there. Now direct some energy through to this area here. And this is all energy medicine, you see. It's transformed from one place to another. So I discard it and so on. All right. And one of the things for Mary Ellen is to think that she must love herself and she must do enough for some others as well. All right. All right, dear. I'll just leave that one there and I'll seal that over. All right. Very good. Now put my hand over the top of that and then you'll find that that's quite warm. In there. Feel a warm spot there? Good. Lovely. All right. We've got 10 minutes to go. I'll just double check here on the top of the head. Sinuses, left ear, right ear, left eye, right eye. This eye doesn't see as well as the other one, dear. TMJ, TMJ. You see the TMJ here? I haven't got time to do that, love. But what I'm going to do is need to set you up and to be able to say thank you so the audience can see you. So can we put your feet over the side, love? Sorry?
That's it.
Okay. I'll just give her shoulders a rub. Now, first of all, you may see that she looks a little different to what she did before when you look at her. Now, would you answer a question or two from the audience? Feel free to ask her a question, please, or ask me direct, but ask her first.
You said L-U-G-I-A?
L-U-G-O-L-S. Lugol's solution.
L-U-G-O-S?
Lugol's solution. The FDA won't allow you to buy it now. When I first came to America, I did. But you can get it through Canada, or you can get it through the computer.
Is that blue iodine?
It's potassium iodide and iodine.
What percent?
Well, that treatment you just did cause her to not want to drink the Sprite anymore?
No. This is quite separate. The treatment I do is separate to she herself. But this morning I had somebody who I used a photograph because I needed to work on her husband. And I used her as a surrogate. And some people send me their photographs front and back and all their details. And when I have time, I can go across and I do the same sort of work. I love getting them better. Yes, dear?
When we were there looking at her, I felt that she was warm at the bottom and cold at the top.
I can understand that. That's right, but near the top you still had some of that negative energy, which is quite cold. Quite cold. Is there anybody got a question for Mary Ellen?
Mary Ellen, how do you feel?
Oh, great. Good. Good. Really good.
Did you feel heat during your operation?
Yes. Good.
All right.
Warm.
Were you aware of the problems in the areas that the doctor identified?
Yes. Very accurate. Very, very accurate. So, but I didn't know I was anemic.
All right. Well, there's various things you can do about that, yes. But you've got to get more iron back in, but no iron pills make you constipated. Yes. Right at the back, please. Stand up and let's say it.
What percent glucose do you recommend?
What?
What percent glucose?
Lugol's is, it's got its own.
10% or 5%?
Oh, well, we used to get it at 7%, but now you can only get iodine at about 1%. Yeah. Yes, right to back center.
Did you use various seaweeds instead of the glucose to get the similar effect?
You're not going to have enough time. Wouldn't have enough time, but you can include the seaweeds in making your soup and so on. And I recommend people the likes of her who's anemic is to making soup and with a thyroid issue, put kelp in there. Most certainly. Now, I'm going to offer to give her a hug. Would you like a hug?
Yes, I
She
would.
would like a hug. Wait on. It's straight up and down like this. See? None of this bend over or sideways or so on. Straight up and down. All right?
Okay.
Give us a hug.
Thank you.
Good. Now, take a deep breath. Good. There's a transfer of energy between the thymus and thymus. And no patter on the back, otherwise it's condescending. So she can now wake up in the morning and say, I feel great. but she's got to be aware that she's anemic and she has to do some other things for herself. Audience, wonderful to see you here. I'm happy to answer as many questions as possible for the next 5 minutes till the next person starts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.